Hey guys, got another project for you. This time we're going to be replacing the front and the rear brakes on my wife's 2016 Toyota Highlander. I'll put a timestamp in the video for the rear brakes if you want to skip to that. If not, then follow along and we'll see how it turns out. These are the rear brakes and the front brakes. There are your part numbers. And I am not resurfacing the rotors on this car. They don't need it. The new brake pads will wear into the existing grooves and imperfections in the rotors. I prefer to go with original OEM parts, especially for brakes. I think it's worth the extra money. I've always had a good experience with those. So let's take a look at the front here. They come with little tensioner clips to replace, and the rear ones, they do not, but they do come with a, looks like an anti squeaking shim of some sort. I did find it interesting that the replacement fronts did not. Anyway, we're going to get to doing the front brakes now and see how it goes. Okay, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and get the piston. It has two pistons in the caliper. You can kind of see the indentions here. There is no outer piston. So you just kind of take a screwdriver and push it up into the rotor, right there and there, and just give it a little pull. That'll get it pressed in for the most part. All this fluid will go back up to the master cylinder. And then you take a 14mm socket in your wrench. And I don't have the wrench, well, I have a wrench to fit this, but it's a little too fat and I don't feel like grinding it down just to fit in this little guy here, so I'm just going to throw a smaller, cheap little crescent channel lock I have on it. Like that. Same thing on the bottom. Same idea. Now, you guys in the northern climate in the Rust Belt area of the country where all the road salt is probably going to have more trouble with this than I'm having. I live in a southern climate where we don't have all that mess. But at least around here it's real easy. And the caliper comes off. There's your two pistons. Alright, then you have these two little retaining springs. Just take them off. I don't think they're retaining springs, I actually think they're little tensioning springs to push the brake pads away from the rotor when you're and they're not in use. I think that's what they're for. Whoop, there went one. Come here. Okay. You'll notice that they have removable, I guess that's anti-chattering type shims and whatnot on them, and just put these on the new pads. Just take one of the old pads, a big pair of channel locks or vice grips or whatever you got, go ahead and push them the rest of the way in. Kind of have to push them both at the same time, or fluid will just move back and forth, and one will go out, and when you push the other one in, like that. Slide the one off the other side. Okay, we'll take out our pads. I don't really think there's like an inside and out, left and right. I think they're all the same. I like that. Kind of get that guy out, put it right there. Take this little shim off the back. There you go. Just have some little dowel pins for them to fit over to kind of line them up, keep them from moving too much. And that is one pad. Now, I don't know if this is a brake wear indicator or not. That might be what it is, but it is in the upward. It's facing up, so you want to make sure when you, like this one, it's going to have to go on the outside because this is up. Once you've swapped out your hardware, it's being reused. Just basically put your pads back in. And the new springs go here. One there. One there. Then take a caliper. Slide it back on. And get both your bolts started. Take your cheap little channel locks. Oops. Your 14mm. Make sure she's good and snug. Oops. Alright guys, that's the front. Basically rinse and repeat over on the other side, and you've got your front brakes replaced. Now we're going to move on to doing the back and see how that goes. Okay, there's your part number for your rear brakes, as well as the fact that I go with Toyota stuff. Good news is it's the exact same tools to take off the rear as the front. And take a screwdriver, find you a place to pry up in here. Screwdriver will actually fit right up here on top of the brake pad on the front side, and you just kind of compress this one the same way, pushing that single piston in. Take your bolts out. Here's your caliper. I'll compress it using the same channel locks I have. Work your brake pad out. These have the noisemaker down on the bottom, I guess, to let you know it's getting low. As you can see, these, they're getting pretty low compared to the original factory ones, which are these guys. You know, big difference in thickness. Not too long from being wore out. Okay, they have the same shims on the back, just like the ones on the front. And this little guy here, I found the easiest way to pop it off is to take it from here, give it a little shove, and it shoots over there, and you have to go get it. So you take your shim, put it back on the pad, obviously. Like so. Make sure when you orient it that you got it down. Like so. Slip that guy back in there. Then do the other one. This time I'm gonna pop it off toward the box so I don't lose it. There you go. There you go. I'll take the caliper, just so I don't have to reposition the camera. I'll do it where you can see it. This guy's not as difficult to compress, or not very difficult to compress. Push it all the way in, that way you get plenty of extra to get it back on. There you go. I must say, between the front and the back brakes on this car, this has got to be one of the easiest brake jobs I think I've done. I like the way these are designed. There you go. Now the emergency brake for the car is actually a cabled brake that runs through the frame, and it's actually, I think it's got a set of shoes on the inside of this hub, or this rotor, but you know, that's something you ain't got to worry about for a long time. Well, that's your back brakes. And before you try to, once you put your car on the ground and before you move it, pump your brakes. Actually, make sure you got brake pressure, because the first time you hit them, you're not. If you happen to be rolling, you might roll somewhere you don't want to. Just a bit of advice. Guys, appreciate you following along. The brakes on this car, front and back, are pretty much the same setup. 14mm wrench. If you got a large pair of channel locks or something like that, you can get the piston compressed and kind of see how it works. Definitely something you can do yourself if you have the tools and the facility to do it. Save you a lot of money. Anyway, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one.